This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Because Progressive offers discounts for paying in full, owning a home, and more. Plus, you can count on their great customer service to help you when you need it, so your dollar goes a long way. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save on car insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states or situations.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Attack the Baseline, a WNBA podcast where every episode we attack our baseline knowledge of the WNBA. We're your hosts, John and Kristen Barber, and today we're back in the thick of the off-season. The streets have gone quiet as we await for bigger off-season news to drop, but we have a grab bag of other little news stories, some bigger news stories, and plenty of stuff to talk about. But before we get into all of it, as always, Kristen, how are you?
I'm good. I think the streets are buzzing with news. There's all this random little stuff happening, and I love that.
Well, emphasis on random little stuff. It does feel a little bit of like random little stuff. We haven't gotten a big like groundbreaker yet.
It's working behind the scenes.
It is also Thursday, and the season ended less than a week ago. So
yeah, well, things are happening, and I just wanted to discuss.
Yeah, we're going to get into all of it, and I'm excited. But before we do, if you'd like to send us an email, you could do so at attackthebaseline@gmail.com. Connect with us on Bluesky, Instagram, TikTok at ATBPod. Leave us a 5-star rating and review on whatever platform it is that you listen to. Hit subscribe, tell your friends and family, get into all that good stuff, and do your part to help us support the show and continue to grow the show. I'll let you start. Where do you want to go first? We've got a list of things we can get into.
Mm-hmm. Well, the news really of today was that the 2026 WNBA All-Star Game will be hosted in Chicago. Mm-hmm. A good city to host an All-Star Game. Sure. Yes. A major city. Mm-hmm. Yep. That will be fun for the players to be at. There'll be a ton of stuff to do for fans. Great for the city of Chicago, the fans there. Mm-hmm. Love that for them. I do just like hope that there's still the understanding that we are generally upset with the ownership and the leadership of the Chicago Sky.
There you go.
Like, I don't want us now to gloss over what the Chicago Sky have done to some of their players this year. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But still, that's a fun city. I could see us venturing there, perhaps. Yeah. Even though we've been to Chicago a handful of times. But still, I love Chicago, so.
Yeah, it's a cool city. Of course, plenty of things going on there right now. Wishing our best to all Chicago residents that everything's going okay for them. Obviously, this is interesting news considering that we've seen very little of their new practice facility that was supposed to be done at some point soon. I've seen arguments that choosing Chicago as the 2026 All-Star Weekend city sort of increases the timeline on building that facility, which could be a good thing for the members of the Chicago Sky roster, as it kind of felt like they were dragging their feet a little bit on getting that done, especially considering how important it is that all these teams have these facilities. So as a little wrinkle there, I think that's interesting. But you kind of said it. It's shocking to me, not really shocking, but it's surprising that it ends up being Chicago after basically them getting clowned all year for mispractice after mishandling after mispractice of everything going on there. And now, even last time we talked about her, Angel Reese is not a guarantee to even still be on the team when she's still going to be under her rookie contract. I don't know if this is like also a leverage move to try to like encourage her to stay, because it's like, you're going to be the face of the city of Chicago.
I mean, she is anyway, so.
Correct. The last time it was in Chicago, it was 2022. And this predates this podcast, but from everything that I've heard about it, it was a mess then. They need to be better now. Well,
they won the championship the year before, so I mean that makes sense.
That made sense why you would choose Chicago then. Choosing Chicago now, after they had one of their worst years in recent memory, all things considered, seems surprising. Seems surprising. You're not going to do like Minneapolis, maybe? I don't know. I think, yes, it's exciting for the fans. It's exciting for the people in Chicago. It's a good place to travel. It's a great city. I just hope that it meets the proper expectations, and that we had a lot of fun following in Indianapolis last year. So I hope it's even anywhere close, if not better than that. That's the experience that I hope for the players, especially with everything that they're going to go through in this off season. So hopefully we have a league to talk about that's visiting Chicago for the All-Star weekend in the middle of the season next summer.
Well, I do think it's funny that they announced this in the midst of all of their negotiations right now.
Yep.
Like, very much, of course, the league is going to assume that they're having a league. And they're planning on scheduling all this all-star break stuff at the same time that it's already scheduled for. Like, they are not planning for any sort of shift in the schedule.
Nope.
But I mean, you get the media, the fans excited about something like this. That makes the players a bit less inclined to fight back, I guess. So this is definitely like a little power move by them.
Oh, I don't think it's moving the needle at all, personally.
I think it
sets the expectation for sure that like,
yes,
we will be playing and good. We're going to talk about the state of the negotiations later on. Good. They should get to a point where they can all agree to play the games, but sounds like you're miles and miles apart.
Well, yeah, but I think it also is like, oh, look, we are fully planning on doing this. And if this doesn't happen, that's not our fault.
Oops.
That's someone else's fault. That's the player's fault.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's like kind of how they can message this and like why they're putting this out when no other news like from the league has come out really.
Yeah.
So I think that's funny. Also, Angel Reese recently walked in the Victoria's Secret fashion show. Looked absolutely stunning. I loved her wings. They were like beautiful. She just looked gorgeous. And I'm so happy for her to be able to be making the money she's making, getting all the attention she's making from this, from her modeling career, where, you know, she has expressed recently that, you know, my number one passion, basketball, doesn't pay me. So I'm doing this as also something I love, but like, this is how I make money.
That's getting me paid. Right.
Yeah. So good for her. I love that. If you haven't seen the pictures, she looked great.
Remind me of the lore. Victoria's Secret fashion show, they all wear wings, right? The wings is part of it, right?
I have truly never watched a full fashion show.
No.
I don't know. Yeah, they do. They're
it's
angels.
Like yes.
Of course.
Yeah, but it's not because she's Angel Reese. It's because it's the Victoria's Secret fashion show.
Yeah, they're Victoria's Secret angels.
Yes.
We don't need to be like talking too much about this fashion show. There's lots that happen in fashion shows that are not good to have happen to women. Of course. But I'm glad that Angel's enjoying herself in this space.
Yes.
I hope she doesn't feel like she has to do this.
to get paid.
To make money.
Yeah. But go get your bag.
But it's, yeah, exactly.
Right.
I think she enjoys it.
I don't blame her for going to get a good paycheck here. Because hopefully eventually you will make more money in the passion that you care most of, basketball. Why don't we talk about that here in the middle of the pod here?
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You chose to hit play on this podcast today. Smart choice. Progressive loves to help people make smart choices. That's why they offer a tool called Auto Quote Explorer that allows you to compare your Progressive car insurance quote with rates from other companies. So you save time on the research and can enjoy savings when you choose the best rate for you. Give it a try after this episode at progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance supervisor at a manufacturing facility, he knows keeping the line up and running is a top priority. That's why he chooses Grainger. Because when a drive belt gets damaged, Grainger makes it easy to find the exact specs for the replacement product he needs. And next day delivery helps ensure he'll have everything in place and running like clockwork. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Okay, so we don't have a ton of concrete news thus far in the state of the CBA negotiations, which are due in a little over 2 weeks from now, the end of October, barring any extension from the league, the players union, blah, blah, blah. But I can say where we were at most recently. We heard that the WNBA was proposing a suggestion that would make the maximum salary contract somewhere in the neighborhood of $850K, and the minimum salary contract for a veteran somewhere in the neighborhood of $300K, which is an increase of about, I don't know, 4 or 5 times what it is now, but it is laughably far away still from where it needs to be. And understandably so, the players are not even going to play with that. So we listened to a couple pods discussing the state of affairs, I guess. Do you want to talk about Sarah Spain's show first?
Yeah, so Sarah Spain had a really good podcast episode with a guy, an economist named David Barry. And he kind of just walked through some of these numbers and how he understands what's happening and what should happen, even though everything is so clouded. There is no transparency at all with these numbers. So even like the Players Association, as they're trying to negotiate, they don't know what the revenue is. So it's just like almost impossible to begin with. But of course, like they want it to be impossible. So it's all just such a game at this point.
Yeah.
It's completely infuriates me.
Yeah, I think I can agree.
So listening to this, and I saw the 850 Supermax, that whole deal. And like, to me, you're like, okay, that's, you know, a starting point. But if you like, what David did on this podcast is he kind of went back and he kind of explained how he thinks that the league got to this evaluation. Basically what he said is the league said, okay, we'll give you 50% of the revenue that you want. You want 50%. We'll give you 50% of the revenue that the W owners make. But it's so complicated. This whole ownership structure is so complicated because 42% of the league is owned by the NBA. and 42 is owned by the W owners. And another 16% is like randomly owned by other people. 2022, Kathy and Adam Silver sold it off in 2022.
I did not know this. That when you told me this earlier, that blew my mind.
So basically they're saying, we'll give you 50% of what your owners make.
Which would be 50% of the 42% that the W owners make. So 21%.
Yeah. So actually it's 21. It's not 50. But they're like making it seem like it's 50. And it's not even close. So really these numbers are like 30% lower than they should be.
Right.
If it was actually 50.
Right.
If it was actually what the NBA players do.
So add another 30% onto the 850K. I'll do some quick maths. It's somewhere in the neighborhood of an extra $240,000. So it should be somewhere in the neighborhood of 1.1, 1.2, $1.3 million Supermax is where,
according to whatever evaluation they're using right now. And basically, in saying we'll give you what the W owners are making, it's the NBA saying, I'm not paying you what I'm making, anything from what I make.
Right.
I will make all the money and not give you any of it. I'll have no cost and make all my revenue.
Right.
Like, who do you think you are?
When you think about how much money, if you were to separate it and think about the money that the MNBA makes, the fact that the players are, getting paid $50 million contracts per year, like if that was that fraction, like it just doesn't, it all doesn't make sense if you put it like that notion of we're just going to pay you paying attention to what the W owners make, and just the continued notion that the W doesn't make money is completely bogus. It's just completely bogus. When you have these team valuations, when you have the Golden State Valkyries being valuated over $500 million, it doesn't make sense that the numbers look like this to them. It's ridiculous.
Basically, this guy said there's could be the range of revenue is anywhere between $300 million and $1 billion. This is the range we're working with here. We don't know. The revenue they make falls somewhere in there. That's an incredibly large range of money. But you cannot say that this league does not make money. It's just how the owners, how the commissioner presents their numbers. And technically it's not illegal to present certain numbers over other numbers. But basically what they're doing is presenting certain revenue numbers to the media to spin this story that we don't make any money. And then they have to be presenting different numbers to investors, because why? If I'm an investor, if I'm a billionaire, why would I give you any money if all you're doing is losing money? You're just going to lose my money. I'm not giving you money.
Right.
That is not possible. You're obviously making money. You got a huge TV deal.
Yes. Huge. Humongous.
These owners, these cities are fighting for teams.
Yeah. They want it bad.
Why would that be happening if all you're doing is losing my money?
Correct. Right. They're just literally just scapegoating women. Just scapegoating women.
We will not do justice all of this number talk. I'm not an accountant.
Yeah.
But yes, go listen to this Sarah Spain podcast episode from yesterday, the 15th of October. I loved how candid they were talking about. The simple fact is these leaders do not believe in this league. They do not believe that these women have any sort of longevity in playing basketball. They don't believe fans actually care. They don't believe fans will stick around, that they'll keep watching, they'll keep coming to games. They don't believe in them at all. And like for the NBA, it's just this notion, oh, it's been around so long. Fans always will keep coming back no matter what. We lose money. The NBA says they lose money sometimes. We lose money, but it doesn't matter. We're keeping our fans.
Yeah.
They like just believe in the men of keeping the grasp of fans.
Right. The attention, blah, blah, blah.
They do not believe that these women can do that.
Well, that is ridiculous.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Especially, like, it's clear that they didn't account for Caitlyn, for Angel, for Paige, for Kiki, for Sonia, for even like Haley Van Lith. Like there are players, especially now in these draft classes, that people want to pay so much attention to. Olivia Miles, AZ Fudd, Lauren Betts. Like, it's only going to become more and more because has been so much attention in the last 2-3 years. Now that just puts more attention on the college game. So now people want to see these college players in a professional setting too. So you're only increasing the attention that you're going to pay on these rookies that now have the ability to break into these teams with better opportunity. So it's just a complete miscalculation. From, like you said, the people up top. And that's why these players are going to take the time necessary to get this right. To what this looks like, to the point where they feel comfortable with whatever the negotiation is.
Yeah. Well, at the end, the guy, David Barry, he gave his calculation of what he thinks the CBA should end up, what these contracts should end up being.
Okay.
He was kind of working on this $300 million in revenue, allegedly, which really is the low end of his spectrum.
Sure.
So it could be much more than this. But
I'm
he's
sure it
saying,
is.
we will work with your $300 million in revenue that you make. He says you should, so $300 million, 50%, that's $100 million should go to the players.
Yes.
That's $11 million per team.
Okay. Perfect.
If you go how the NBA works, where the max is 35%
I was going to say, yep, 35%
of the salary cap, your max is $4 million.
Ta-da!
Please tell me how 850,000 is like anywhere close. It's so insulting to me.
Right.
It's so insulting.
It's a quarter of that. It's yeah.
Like, I understand that this is a negotiation that's like a compromise, and you start your spectrum how you want to start and you work your way towards the middle. This is so insulting to me.
Right.
To even start that low is crazy. And if I were a player, I'm just like getting heated about it. But if I were a player, I honestly would say at this point, like, screw that.
Yeah.
I will go play in Unrivaled, in Athletes Unlimited. I will go play overseas. I'm not playing for you. You do not care about me at all.
And we could theorize what it would look like if the W didn't exist tomorrow, and like what the remakings of, because yes, the players would want to go somewhere. The players clearly want to play. Like, it's not an issue with the players not wanting to play. But it's like, it makes it so difficult for me to even think about what that would feasibly look like, to just completely start over, untethered from the NBA. So I hope that it's not something that we have to do, because there's at least like connections to the arenas and the cities. And if you had to start over, who knows where that would send the players, or where that would, like, where the games would be played, how it would even look like. But it is very bad. It's very bad.
Yeah. And like, it does seem like the W owners do want what's best for the players. The W owners who interact with their teams, they want what's best. It's just this grasp that the NBA has on this league that they just want to use it to make money and not spend anything. Sorry, that's not a business.
Right.
You're just trying to like reign over this league.
That's corporate greed. A little thing we call capitalism. That's what we call it. Yeah, it's bad. So not to sugarcoat it, is bad. I hope that they can get there.
Like, I didn't think it was this bad until I listened to this podcast episode. And now I'm like, wow, this is really bad. And I'm like so furious.
Yeah. Well, I think the Pablo Torre Finds Out podcast that came out today with Sue Bird and Megan Rapinoe, frequent guests to Pablo's pod. They're very good on the mics. Obviously, they have their own shows. We've talked about them plenty before. This was kind of like, they didn't just spend time talking about CBA negotiations. It was a lot about like big things that happened throughout the season, Sue's statue, and they talked about stud buds a lot. And it was a really good show. I also very much encourage you to listen to that. But the sort of the takeaways that I got, and I always love this, I'll always repeat this, that it's great given that Sue is a minority owner of the Storm and Megan is her partner. Megan can be as vocal as she wants. And they even say on the pod, because they're not married, like if they were married, she might not be able to say exactly what she wants to say, but she can say whatever she wants because, you know, they're not some recognized legal couple, whatever. Blah, blah,
I
blah.
love that.
It was very interesting.
That's strategic.
Is it? That's strategy. But like Megan basically said that the relationship is Kathy's to repair. They talked about whether or not they believe that Kathy Engelbert could be the commissioner at the end of all of this. And they said, like, theoretically, sure, like she could last and be there on the other side of the negotiation. But, you know, Pablo said it. They basically said it that like Nafisa's comments were basically implying like, we do not want to deal with you anymore. And they talked about that in detail. I also think it's interesting that Sue always emphasizes she's never in the room for negotiations. As a minority owner, she does not have that ability to be there for that. But she is very much, she says, we need to be paying the players. She can say that. She's allowed to say that. Pay the players what they deserve. The business is booming. They can emphasize it over and over again.
No, it's actually, I want it all for myself.
Correct.
And you get nothing, even though you do everything.
Correct. I think what's interesting that I didn't know, and they were very matter of fact, this would be the case whenever they come to a decision on the CBA, whatever the veteran minimums are, or whatever the existing contracts, the two veterans signed contracts, Lexi Brown and
Kalani Brown.
I couldn't remember the other one today. Plus all the rookies, their salaries would automatically scale up to what it would be. So like they'd get a multiplier to whatever their appropriate ceiling would be based on percentage of the cap. So I thought that was interesting because I was like, oh, you're about to get like, let's say like you said, an $11 million cap increase, and you're going to have Caitlin on a $75,000 contract, like a literal pennies contract. That's like a huge advantage. No, it'll be a normal rookie scale. And they just said that, a matter of fact. That was not something that I had ever heard, but I'm glad to know that that's like a thing. So that's good. But I think the biggest takeaway for me was Meg talked a lot about lockouts. Meg said that the players have sacrificed so much with no return, and they recognize that. She emphasized that it's always important to leave the door open. She said the players shouldn't be acting like, Kathy has to go or else we won't play. Like they need to recognize that like there could be a world where Kathy Engelbert can still be the commissioner and they can get what they want through negotiation. Don't just like slam the door. Don't block yourself off to make it harder to negotiate. Always leverage plays and the importance of that. She emphasized that like work stoppages are catastrophic. Nobody likes them. Everyone just gets mad about them when it happens, but they are a tool. She recognizes that it's a tool, and that these players need to just continue to beat the drum of we deserve to get what we deserve to get. And the attitude in the podcast was pretty hopeful, I would say, that a deal gets done. I thought it was neat that they talked about how in the previous CBA negotiations, they took care of a lot of like other stuff unrelated to the money side, like the fact that veterans previously had to share rooms when they would travel for games. Now they all got their own room, like privacy, and they got maternity leave and all these other important things. And during even this CBA, they negotiated the chartered flights this past season. And Sue was talking about how it's good that you get all that stuff out of the way because now you can focus on the thing you care about, which is the money. And they did that strategically. And they all are free agents strategically because they're putting themselves in the position where now that you have none of us under contract, you got to pay us or else we're going to do, like you said, go somewhere else, do something else, whatever that looks like.
That's just also why I'm so insulted by their low ball. Like,
right.
Do you not recognize I have way more opportunities? Like, I don't need to be here. These players don't need to be here.
So all this to say, encourage you to go check out that pod as well. It was very fun too. It wasn't just all seriousness. They've had a lot of good bits. But yeah, that's kind of where things are in the negotiations as we are about 2 weeks out of when things are due. I'm hopeful that we have some real news next week or something, that we talk about another failed attempt by the league to passivate the players in inappropriate amount of money. Or maybe we hear about the players, what they're presenting. That would be interesting too, because we kind of, like you said, there's no transparency on these numbers. And we're just going to have to keep our ears, out to hear for what we're going to get.
I would like to know.
Yeah. What else do we got? Why don't we talk about real briefly, without, getting into it too much. The Portland Fire have made a couple hirings. Vice President of Basketball Operations, Ashley Battle, a former player in the WNBA, played from 2005 to 2010 with the Storm and with the Liberty and with the Silver Stars, San Antonio. Actually, it was the San Antonio Stars, not Silver Stars. So that's kind of cool. Bringing back a former player to be in an office role is definitely a positive. And then they go and hire another white guy. And I'll be blunt about that because that is the reaction that the news has gotten. They bring in a guy named Alex Sarama, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, who has no prior head coaching experience. He spent his last 15 months with the Cleveland Cavaliers, and before that, the Portland Riptide or whatever, I forget, the G League affiliate of Portland, Rip City something. And yeah, I'll say, like, to be completely blunt, I feel like there is an attitude of some of these head coaching hires feeling like they can use the W as a stepping stone to become a head coach in the NBA. And that is what I feel. And he could have knocked out the interview. He could have crushed the interview. But the fact that
he could say, I'm so excited to coach women when I've never coached a woman before.
Yes. In any level, as far as we can tell, looking at his resume, maybe we're wrong. Maybe he coached at the high school level. I don't freaking know. But like when we talk about the lack of black female coaches in a league dominating by black females, it just feels so wrong that this is the hire that they made. And that's kind of all I have to say about it. Personally. I hope that Toronto and New York and Seattle, at least,
and Dallas,
at least make a little more interesting signings. That's all I have to say. What else do you want to talk about? Anything else?
Our Philly legend, Kate Scott. She's not from Philly, but now she is from here.
Basically, yeah.
One of the announcers for the Sixers. This is very vague. We're not really sure what it means, but she has become a lead announcer for the WNBA for next season.
Mm-hmm.
We love that. She's one of the very few women announcers.
Yep.
In the NBA.
Very few. Yes.
She also recently, last month, she became the first woman to announce an NFL game.
In Dublin, right? I think it was an international game too.
Yes.
It's pretty cool.
She's announced games for the Olympics before. So she's so experienced. People, for whatever reason, don't love her. But we love her. I'm very excited to hear more details about this.
Yes. Kate, come on the pod. We're hopeful. I don't want to overpromise, but we're going to do our best to try to get Kate on the pod to hopefully maybe talk about this a little more. It would be very cool.
And something potentially positive to close the show.
Yes.
If you have nothing else.
No, go ahead.
Haley Van Lith, this is a random story. Two things. She recently had surgery because I guess, she had a nagging injury this year and she had surgery. So hopefully next year she performs better than she did this year. But also she announced that she's starting her own foundation dedicated to athlete wellness, inspired by her own battles with anxiety and the relentless WNBA grind. She said she was really impacted by having no off season this year.
I bet.
They went immediately from March Madness to practicing for their WNBA teams.
And she was playing she played in the Olympics too, so she was very much on.
Yes, she's had no rest, and she really is going to value this off season now to give back to people and invest in athlete mental health. So I think that was great.
It's a very worthwhile thing to pursue, and that's great to hear that for
HVL Foundation.
Good to know. Check out the HVL Foundation. Well, I think that'll do it for this episode of Attack the Baseline. We kind of just talked about what we needed to talk about. Hopefully,
I was just heated. I just needed to talk.
Yeah, these mics allow us to vent about a league that we care about and that we want to see succeed. So,
well, wherever these women go, we will follow.
Yeah. We're still waiting to find out who the last two people in Unrivaled are going to be. The last two players. So once we know that, we'll talk about Unrivaled. I'm sort of waiting until we know that before we start talking about that in the off season here. But hopefully we get some more CBA news to discuss later on. Again, if you would like to send us an email, you could do so at our email, attackthebaseline@gmail.com. Connect with us on Bluesky, Instagram, TikTok at ATBPod. Leave us a 5-star rating and review. Subscribe, whatever platform it is that you listen, so you make sure to get the latest as we drop new episodes. And tell your friends, tell your family, help grow the pod. And we'll be back again to talk with you real soon about whatever else is going on in and around the league as the offseason continues. But Kristen, I'm staring at the baseline. What are we going to do?
Attack it.
Attack the baseline. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll talk to you later.
Life is unpredictable, but how you prepare for the unexpected shouldn't be. Take ownership of your life planning with Policy Genius to help your loved ones have a financial safety net in case something happens to you. Whether to cover debts and routine expenses or even invest the money and earn interest over time. With Policy Genius, finding and buying life insurance is simple. You can compare quotes from top insurers and could find coverage that fits your needs and your budget. Plus, they offer life insurance policies starting at just $276 a year for $1 million in coverage. It's an easy way to feel good about and plan for the future. No wonder Policy Genius is the country's leading online insurance marketplace. Don't wait for life to make other plans. Protect your family today. Head to PolicyGenius.com to compare top-rated life insurance policies, get your lowest quote, and make a smart move in under 10 minutes. That's PolicyGenius.com.